two things to it. Let's look at the historical and let's look at the reality here. Historical, I mean that previously, this is one destination that has had two sides to it, a low and a high season. And obviously the low season comes along with certain bad things. Hotels will close down, workers will be laid off, and of course productivity generally in terms of the economy goes down. The way I look at it now is we have a real opportunity to try and change the way the industry is run. I believe that there's no reason whatsoever why a destination such as Mombasa should have a low and high season kind of arrangement. I would wish a situation where we have a high season throughout, because we have what it takes if we compare ourselves to the other destinations around the world. From a marketing perspective, there's a need for the players concerned to constantly reevaluate, assess ourselves. That is the only way that you can progressively grow a product. Mombasa as a destination is no exception. There's a real need for us to look at how we can diversify, constantly look at our market clientele, their needs. And you see, you must appreciate that we are dealing with a far much more sophisticated clientele than the ones that we had in the 70s or early 80s. So a research-based program that looks at the product, the destination itself, the people, our target clientele is critical on how we move forward. We have one very important resource which most other destinations don't have, which is the people of this region. The people here are extremely hospitable, and that alone is a big attractant to tourists coming down. Now we need to leverage on that, but again, in terms of the products that we have, if you look at our beaches, we have pristine beaches. That's not to say that we don't have certain issues along the beach. You have the issue of the coexistence between the hotels and the beach operators. That needs to be regulated. Now we are lucky to have sites, heritage sites along the beach, along the coast. Talk of Fort Jesus. These are things that we need to leverage on. So yes, for us, depending on how you want to look at it, good value for money for any tourist is what needs to be looked at critically. Terrorism is the single biggest threat to humanity, and it knows no borders. It's not specific to Mombasa alone. Insecurity has been a major problem in as far as tourism is concerned. But the most unfortunate thing is we've also looked at tourism from the Western perspective. That is, if we have people from the West, those are the ones that we regard as tourists. We can't have tourists from within Mombasa. We can't have tourists from within the country, within the region, within Africa, and from other parts of the world. There has to be an understanding that indeed tourism is a major contributor to the economy of this region and the country at large. And there must be a deliberate attempt to ensure that we build confidence in this region in as far as security matters are concerned, because nobody wants to go on holiday to a destination that appears to be unsafe. And when I say nobody wants to go on holiday, I'm talking about even the Kenyan who comes from Voi will not want to come to Mombasa if he thinks that Mombasa is not safe. The tourism industry has been heavily dependent on game and the beach holiday aspect. We talk about our safaris and talk about our beaches. Mombasa unfortunately does not have a game park. So our focus is more on the beaches. But I would say that diversification is a critical component. And one such case is what you've seen in terms of the products that you're bringing in. Number two, stakeholder involvement is also a very critical component. There is a need for us to bring in our different strategic thinkings together so that we can together pull through this particular phase. But most importantly, research-based decisions is the best way. So as a department in Mombasa County, one of the things that we intend to prioritize is to base our decisions on research. We hope to have a research institute, a Mombasa County Research Institute, which will probably e-based. You don't need to have a fully fledged secretariat. And from there, we shall get all the necessary information that we shall then base our findings and decisions on. One supports the other. Culture is something that helps us link our past to our present and into the future. Tourism is actually something that benefits from what we get in our culture. So I'm saying that in aligning tourism and culture, one needs to understand that culture, being what we do every day, has a bearing on how we handle our tourism business within the county. Because see, tourism is probably dependent on other factors outside our cultural aspect of life. So it's important that we are able to look at the cultural aspect, both in terms of our way of life, in terms of how it impacts on our education, how it impacts on our businesses, and many other things. Then we look at how it can eventually impact positively on the tourism aspect of our county.
I want to take this opportunity to welcome everybody to Mombasa, to this year's Mombasa International Cultural Festival, where it's happening in our beautiful county of Mombasa. We want you to come to Mombasa to enjoy our food, to enjoy our culture, to enjoy the hospitality of our people. Come with your families, come with your friends to Kutane Mombasa.
We have improved the business environment in Mombasa. Mombasa has been a historical business town, from Old Town to Kilindini. The business environment has changed. We have made a lot of improvements. It's an exciting time for businesses. Karibuni kwetu, Kutane Mombasa.
The fishing industry in this county has been transformed in the last 1 year. Specifically in the last 6 months, we made sure that our fishermen are under new regulations that are making sure that they are not getting exploited, but they are getting value for money. We are also making sure that they have markets across the world where they can send their produce all over the world and they get a better revenue and better income. What you're telling everybody, the whole country, the whole world, there is no better place to come other than Mombasa. Ndio maana tunasema karibuni nyote tukutane Mombasa.
Every year families come down to Mombasa to have a good time. This year will definitely be different. The Cultural Festival in Mombasa is going to be the first of its kind, an event that looks to provide an opportunity for families to get together and have a good time. August is going to be Mombasa's new December, and we're looking forward to having families come down and take part in the food festival, the treasure hunts, and the swimming competition. For far too long, Mombasa has been known as a destination that children are not safe. But we're about to turn that around, and the Cultural Festival is going to make that happen. Come down to Mombasa on the 21st to the 24th of August and have a good time. Mombasa.
Everybody needs to be in Mombasa. One thing that I can tell you for a fact is, for the last couple of weeks, that we've been trying to put our house in order in trying to get a successful cultural festival. We've come to realize that the expectations of the Mwananchi are extremely high. We are not about to disappoint. We have a vibrant team that's working around the clock to ensure that indeed the Mombasa International Cultural Festival 2014 will be one that will be talked about for a long, long time. One thing is that, again, this is a festival which as a product will be an annual event spread over a couple of days. This year's event runs from the 21st of August to the 24th along different centers in Mombasa, namely the Mamangida Drive. We're talking about the Fort Jesus. We're talking of the Swahili Cultural Center, the Makadara grounds, and even on the beach. This is an opportune time for you to test the hospitality. Coastal resorts associated with hospitality, delicacies, a vibrant nightlife, you name it. So as someone from upcountry, this gives an opportunity to see what Mombasa can showcase in terms of our cultural talent, get to visit the sites that we have, the historical sites that we have. We'll have cultural troops. We are going to have cultural homestays. Remember, Mombasa is probably the only town where you have the 42 tribes living harmoniously. So you'll have a whole aura of color, cultural color. We'll have sporting events. We'll have music. We'll have fireworks. And even the Mombasa Marathon will be part of the event that you'll see along here. Our destiny is in our hands. And for any nation to move forward, it will be critical that we actually invest in the products and make sure that a county like Mombasa or a town like Mombasa is associated with certain things. My view is that the cultural aspect of this particular region will be one of the major building blocks on how we propel Mombasa to the next century. Well, in terms of tourism, I can tell you that indeed Mombasa is the place. If Mombasa sneezes, the country catches a cold. Mombasa is the place where we are going to make sure that tourism finds its right footing. We have lots of products lined up, the cultural festival being one of them. We are looking at conference centers. We are looking at low altitude sports tourism. We are looking at medical tourism. We are looking at student exchange programs. For us, the sky is the limit. It's entirely up to us to make sure that we make the right decisions at the right place at the right time. And also, most of the decisions, I think, and I feel strongly, need to be based on research. Research documents and the things that will make us move forward. Tukutane Mombasa.
If you haven't seen, tried and tested our hospitality and missed the 2013-2014 is here. Join me in enjoying Mombasa's International Cultural Festival that begins on the 21st to the 24th of August 2014. Come and enjoy the heritage and sample our hospitality. Tukutane Mombasa.